All right. Welcome everybody to Shifting into High Gear with Erin Sparks. Erin, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for everybody for listening in. And we're going to do a very brief little share here. So let me get that going.
Yeah.
So that people know what the heck to expect. All right, there we go. Even more behind the scenes. Look at that.
all the things.
Right, totally. Here we go. All right, so you've got me, Matthew Davis, Chief Marketing Officer at TradePending, and Erin, Marketing Director at DeNooyer Chevy. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Yes, nice to see you as well.
All right, we'll get to the full introduction here in a second. As you expect, we record this, we share it out afterwards. If you have questions, use the Q&A button panel thing in the whole Zoom webinar thing. You guys know the drill. All right, if you don't yet, please follow us on social media because we give away a lot of cool stuff on there. We give away t-shirts. Sometimes we give away Super Bowl footballs kind of things. We didn't do that this year, but this is real fake leather. We do a lot of fun stuff on there, so grab us a follow there. And then a couple of examples here so you can visualize maybe some of the things that Erin's going to be talking about. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and we're just going to go right into the whole meat of this thing. Erin, how did you end up here today?
Funny story, I guess. I have been in marketing for close to 15 years, but about for 10 years of that, I had been at a digital agency and marketing company. And of that, 5 of those years were well within the automotive industry. And when a opportunity came up with the DeNooyer Automotive Family group, I took a leap of faith and went with it. And it's been a great experience ever since. So from that to now, we just try to think outside the box. And I think we got here because I guess it was just outside of the box enough. So
yeah. And so what do you do? Marketing director means a lot of things to many people.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Candidly, I say that I'm the one that kind of tries to bring as many of our departments together as I can. But what I kind of try to do the most often is just talk to each of our departments as often as possible to be able to understand what they're trying to accomplish and marry that story together. We are a storytelling company. It's my belief that it is not our responsibility to tell the price and tell the information that is readily available from the manufacturer, but more so it's our job to tell our story about us and who we are. So that's what I like to do.
That's a great way to put it. All right, so the topic today is service lane sourcing inventory from the service lane. Yeah. Thinking back to the history there and your experience with it, or what you've learned since you've joined, what was the first kind of dip in the toes into sourcing inventory from the service lane?
Yeah, the used car managers and new car managers would all talk about, who's going to take the service lane for, this time frame or that time frame. And a lot of the guys and ladies in our organization, their general only way to source in the service lane was just being down there and talking to people, which I still think is a very valid option. So, but a lot of times the issue that they ran into is, they see a customer, they get talking to that customer, and you want that great relationship, right? You want all of that. So the customer really comes first. And because of that really great relationship that they have, they're missing out on other things that are happening in the service lane. So, they get to talking so much so that they get to then follow through on the next things that happen along that same line, and they get to be able to take them back to their office and talk about a new vehicle that they want. And, the process goes on and on. So, but how could we make that an exponential impact is what we were hoping for.
Wonderful. And so as you started thinking about maturing this process, did you have to go get buy-in from other people, from other departments? How did that process work? How did it net out?
Yeah, so we started talking about it, and our little group of, decision makers, somebody was like, well, what about hang tags? And I was like, let's try them. Our fixed ops director, his name is Bill Garnett. One of his comments that he usually makes, and it's usually directed towards me, is create the chaos. And so we just create chaos as often as we can. And I guess for us, that just meant taking the information, running with an idea, making sure enough of the people know what's going on so that they can help and be an advocate for it. But we did it, and everybody kind of just latched onto it, and it's been working well.
That sounds like the, what is it, like ask for forgiveness, beg for permission or something? The phrase is like, just go out and do stuff and then clean up your mess afterwards. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, I mean, and to a degree, right? Like get enough buy-in from the right people to like, you're good, but then start running. And
yeah, something just came to me here, and I'm throwing you a little bit off the script here.
Yeah. Sure.
At one point, we've spoken with customers say like we tread lightly when we think about sourcing from the service lane, because it can be viewed as taking away repair business and service business from that department. Do you guys have any type of thoughts around that, or is there any tension there? Have you worked through that?
Not necessarily, no. The team, at the end of the day, the teams work really well together, because they're just as much as there is them working the service lane, it's the service lane recommending, you should come and talk to sales. I think because we want to do what's right for the customer, right? And so we kind of believe that you're never going to really force somebody to do something they don't want to do. You have to be a great advocate for them. And sometimes advocacy means you are doing something that, you're going to say like, this is at this time and place, it's better to fix your vehicle. And other times it's like, no, like you've now come to the point where like this either is unsafe, or your value or the use case of it, you're better off to go to sales. And so the team works well together to do that.
I've got a 2015 Ford Flex, which is making some pretty terrible noises right now, and I'm afraid like we're going to be on that edge. Yeah. I hope it's going to be like $100 for repair.
Well, and the thing is, you want a team that's going to be like real with you and say like, okay, so like here's the things you could do,
right?
And here's what it's going to cost, but here's the potential negative of that, or here's another option. And I think that when you have somebody that you can trust, our sales team, our service team, they're just really trustworthy. So that kind of helps everybody.
So this next question speaks to your thought and your approach to having to communicate across departments. Do you think about sourcing specific vehicles or putting more focus on a different type, make, model, or is it just we'll take anything?
I would say that we would take anything, because we always want to take a crack at something. There are times though that we don't take things. And I think that's something that even as an organization, we probably want to continue to evolve with that. I think, the age of units that are on the road are continually getting older with today's market. And so sometimes, what worked a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago is not the same rules you play by today. So
are there a set of criteria that you look for when there are things that you won't take?
I kind of leave that to the used car managers a little bit, but what I can speak to is that when we are looking at trying to acquire units, we try to always place the salesperson in the advocacy zone, and the sales manager is the one that's truly making a lot more of those decisions. Because when you place that responsibility on the sales manager, they're the ones that know the full scope of things, and then you're really leaving that salesperson there to be the advocate for the customer.
So yeah, let's drill into that a little bit more. We talk about the salesperson being an advocate there. That's a great approach. Are you training them? Are there talk tracks? Are there scripts that you're working to have them adhere to? Tell us about that.
There's some people on the team that are just better at that than others. And so we used to have the whole team. Everybody was a part of that team. And then we've kind of whittled it down to the ones that are maybe a little bit more successful in that. But truly, everybody on the team does need to know that, because that conversation is going to come up regardless of if they, we got them in the service lane or not. So that could happen. You talking to somebody that you met randomly at a bar or at dinner or something too. So, everybody's got to be at least relatively in line with what that conversation looks like. It's just, there's a team that really does a better job of that than others. And so we're going to leave the heavy load to them.
Got it. Let's think about it strategically from a higher level. How has your emphasis changed on sourcing from the service lane over the past 2 years and then just the past 3 months? Is it the exact same? Have you adapted with the market, or is your approach just adapt naturally?
I would say that it ebbs and flows a little bit. Sometimes it depends on the team. Sometimes it depends on, who's in the seat and where we can make the most impact. I think that the opportunity really comes about based on who's going to advocate for that. We're lucky to have a general manager and a general sales manager that are both very big advocates of sourcing from the service lane, but finding the right person to sit in that seat to do that. So,
got it. Tactically, what are some of the things you do to source inventory? We saw some pictures of kiosk, of hang tags. What's in the roster?
Yeah, so we made a website called DeNooyerBuys.com. I know that there's like sourcing websites have kind of been the popular thing for the last maybe 2 years or so now. You went to digital dealer in Vegas 2 years ago and like it was the whole thing, and it still is today. I decided to make my own website and use TradePending as part of that on DeNooyerBuys.com. And then we also pushed a lot of our site traffic over to that as well too, because it was quick and easy. It helped them get in and out really quickly. Some other things that we do is usually a monthly email, sometimes more than that. We have QR codes on signage in the waiting areas and on a couple of posters in the service area and in the sales area. And then the picture that you saw that we won the Wobbly Award for was our hang tags in the cars. Those were actually multi-use for us. The way that our service lane works is that a customer will pull into the service lane. They're greeted by one of our greeters, and then the service advisor comes up to them, takes in their information and makes sure that they understand what they're doing for service that day. And then, the customer parts ways with them. That's where the hang tag comes into play, because the customer's car has been tagged. Some of our people even use that as like the number spot that vehicle goes to. And the cool thing about that is we wanted a personal touch to that. So not only does it have the DeNooyer Buys QR code on it, but on the other side, it says that we thank you for your business, and the technician signs it when they're done.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
Logistically, how does it work? If somebody is in the office there and they say, "Yep, I don't want to pay for the repairs. Let's talk about trading this thing in." Walk us through the mechanics of that.
So it depends on what they want their next steps to be. If they want to talk to somebody that day, the service advisor really just calls one of our calls one of our salespeople.
Is there like a button they can push somewhere, like under the desk? Like
not quite. It's not like, like the bank robber kind of style, but we do it like we call up to the sales department, and then a lot of our service advisors too say, like, "Hey, I really love Rich. I think Rich would be a great person for you." Or it depends on if that person has been sold by us in the past. We'll probably use the same salesperson that they had previously. So the salesperson would come down to them, they'd talk with them about it, and then they really just start the sales process. Some other things though that we do have as well too, I forgot to mention, is we have a service 24/7 service kiosk. And so there are some customers that don't really want to talk with a person face to face. A family member of mine, she would rather never talk to a person ever. And then there's me, who would talk to all of the people. But the idea with that service kiosk is that they don't have to talk to someone, but they can check their car in and take their car out of service and pay for their service all in one fell swoop. Part of that process is also asking them if they want to trade value on their vehicle. They're able to then go to that code and they go through the whole process and go from there as well too. So if they did it digitally or they just didn't want to do it that day, they could scan the code or go to DeNooyerBuys.com very specifically. They fill out the form, they get a solid offer. It's an actual number. It's good for 2 weeks. Then our team then connects with them. We try to get in touch with them. We ask if they want to come to us, if we want to come to them, because we need to do a visual check of the vehicle.
Bless you.
Thank you. We do a visual check of the vehicle because we just want to make sure, somebody says, it's in perfect condition, and that perfect condition to them might not mean perfect condition to us. So we just want to double check all of those things. And then we have the potential to do a same day appointment or a same day check for them if they wanted to do that. Of course, pending any, payoff issues, loan, title issues or anything like that. So.
Got it. Is there a goal that you're shooting for on a monthly basis on just overall how many vehicles to source or sourcing by channel?
Yes. So we have anything from website session goals to the amount of leads that we get. The amount of leads isn't overly, we're not inundated by any means. But of that, we want to do a really good job of taking those. And right now we sit anywhere between a 6 to 8% of any of our leads are getting we are ending up purchasing a vehicle from those leads. So
great.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're giving people the option of bringing the car in or going to them.
Yep.
If you had to take a guess, how many people want you to come to them? What percent?
It's not as much as I thought there would be, but we do have them. So I would probably say 65, 35.
Okay.
35% of the time we have somebody say like, can you come to me? And of course, it's as long as it's within reason, we're happy to do that. So.
All right. So kind of a random little thought here.
Yeah.
Do you have a really, really nice loaner fleet so that people get in a super nice car and like, oh my gosh, I need to upgrade?
We do actually. So our our new car manager, John, was very, very passionate about that. And the minute we can get another car into the loaner fleet, he wants to do that because it is generally a really good sales tool for them as well too.
What advice would you give to somebody just starting out?
Yeah.
I know that inventory sourcing is a little bit less of a focus now. Inventory is starting to rise a little bit, but this is a best practice that you should just keep doing.
Yeah.
How should somebody think about getting started?
At the end of the day, you need a champion that actually is doing the day-to-day. I can be a champion of it, but I don't appraise cars. I don't talk to the customers on the day-to-day basis like the actual salespeople do. So you need a champion that's doing the actual work and that really wants it to succeed, because without that, it is just a directive from someone else. So I would say pick a champion and hopefully that they want to be that champion. And then make a real process, like actually sit down and be like, okay, if somebody wants to do this, do we do it? Do we not do it? And that was even a conversation that we had about like going out to people. They were like, yes, but if we go out, that's potentially an hour out of our day, getting there, talking to the customer, doing the appraisal, coming back. And we decided, we're here to serve our customers and we're here to be of service to them. So that was a tenet of who we are as a company. And we decided that is definitely something we want to move forward with. Those are the kind of things you really want to think about. I mean, it seems like it's such a simple, like, yeah, let's go out to them. But there's going to be other people that maybe think differently. So that's got to be in your champion's wheelhouse as well too. And then create the chaos. Well
said. So 2 more questions. And if there's, thank you to our listeners for being patient as I just throw question after question at you here. You mentioned storytelling.
Yeah.
And that, you guys, you're not so much telling like the what.
Yeah.
Here's the features, here's the price, right? You
Yep.
get that just about anywhere.
Yeah.
What is the stories that you guys like to tell? What are those stories?
Yeah. So right now we've been working on, some people have heard of Simon Sinek, and he has a saying that says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so that's kind of been the framework for the last few years of some of our content pieces and branding at DeNooyer Chevrolet in Kalamazoo. And that's just been who we are. So we did a series about 1.5 years ago called the We Are series, and we talked about each of our departments and what they stand for and why they are, like, what makes them feel really good. Anything from the technician that says, like, I can't be, like, we have a technician that's like, I can't feel good about myself knowing that somebody might be going out there in a vehicle that's not safe. It's just not in me to let that pass. And and it's something like that. Or the technicians feel that way, or the service advisors that say, like, you know what, education is like, that's where it's at. And we want to educate our customers, not just sell them something or be the, like, say, hey and bye, So we kind of went through a lot of those stories because I think that those need to be told, because sometimes people don't have a real idea of that we're real people and that we're here to really help them. So.
Wonderful. My last question for you, at least I think it's my last question. What is one of the wildest or the worst trade-in stories that you have experienced or heard of there?
So somebody wanted to trade in a vehicle that they had gotten from one of those online places, because they wouldn't take the vehicle that they just sold them the week prior back. And they were upset about that. And I mean, rightfully so, I guess. So those are difficult conversations. I don't have anything too crazy. I feel bad a little bit about that, but
that's okay. You can't win them all.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, there's a seat for every person, I suppose. But I think we're just trying to do our best to be.
Yeah, we're bringing that question back. We've had some great answers to that. The one that really stuck out the most was Jason Scott out of Toyota Hendrick in North Charleston. Somebody traded in a car with grandmother's ashes in the trunk.
Oh. I mean, poor grandma.
Well, she wasn't around, so I don't know. All right. If there are questions from the audience, be thinking of them. Type them into the little Q&A thing right there. While we're doing that, we'll bring something else here for you.
Sure.
There we go. All right. So it looks like, tell us what we're seeing here, Erin.
Yeah, sure. So you can see the hang tags that we have on the left side. You see the QR code that's there. And then I also mentioned on the other side, we'd like to thank our customers, and the actual technician signs those at the end. And usually it's just their first name, but it just gives a little more personal touch to that. And we like that a lot. And then we also have a value your trade landing page that is on our check-in and checkout process on our 24/7 service kiosk. And that service kiosk is something that continues to get used more and more. And our sales manager, I tell you, he gets so excited every time that he gets another one of these value your trades, because those leads go to him first.
Wonderful. And you made a passing mention of this, but I'll call it out specifically. You guys did win a Wobbly Award. Those are trade pending awards for excellence across lots of different facets of automotive. And you guys got the golden version of the trophy here. This is just the regular one that's got it.
Yes, we did.
All right. Yeah. Oh, and if you want your own, all you got to do is hit that URL right there, bit.ly/wobblybird. It is case sensitive. We will mail you one. Looks like we've got a couple of questions popping in here. All right. How do you make the online offer as close to real as possible? Is there any disappointment when you see the vehicle person and can't match the offer?
I mean, I know for a fact there have been times where our sales manager that is doing the evaluation of the vehicle, they have been disappointed because they thought this is all the things that were put into the system, and they really framed it one way, and then we got there and they're like, oh, that's not quite the same. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's all about the honest conversation, because I think without that honest conversation, you really got to be able to show that person that, like, we're here for you. We want to do the best we can. And we want to show you the range that your vehicle, make, your model, and trim comes in at this point in time, and then talk them through each each specific piece on why we either, you know, are giving you the money we want, that you want for that, or that maybe we're not giving you the money that we want for that. And speaking to how do you get it as close as possible, the system actually allows us to set a lot of different parameters and some different, you know, things that will help us feel like we are where we need to be in order to feel really comfortable about that. I can say less that we've been doing this for almost a year now, just the way that we were doing it as we are today. And I can count on one hand the amount of times where we were like, oh, that's not as close as we thought we were. So I play the law of like the law of averages, right? And, you know, I think that you can work with that view of issues that we've had. Totally does not outweigh all of the good that's come from that on the other side.
Absolutely. And that's the point which you made, and I'll reiterate there, is that, yep, within our system and some others, you have that ability to control what that range is going to be or what that offer is going to be, which questions you ask, which deductions you take. And it really just depends on the strategy. Do we want to try to get it as close as possible to that actual market value, or do we want to have some room up or down either way, depending upon how we want to approach the customer?
Yeah. And so far, like I said, it is scary to do that, but put a little faith in, create a little chaos, and I think you'll be fine. So
wonderful. Erin, final thoughts or parting wisdoms?
I don't know. I just make it a good day.
Well, on that bombshell, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. Erin, thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing your expertise, your team's expertise, and everything you guys have been learning over the past few years. It very much appreciated.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.